You're crouched on a rooftop in Damascus, dagger in hand, watching your target laugh with his guards in the courtyard below. The mission has failed. They spotted you on the way in. The target's still breathing. Every escape route you mapped 3 weeks ago is now blocked by men with swords. You have two choices. Let them take you alive and spend your last hours in a torture chamber answering questions you'll never answer. Or take the jump that kills you but keeps the Order's secrets buried with your bones. At least you won't have to file a mission report. Either way, history will remember the choice you make tonight. But let's start at the beginning. Before the rooftop. Before the dagger. Before the world turned you from a person into a weapon. You arrive at Alamut on foot, exhausted, following a guide who never speaks. The mountain fortress rises out of the Persian highlands like a fist of stone, isolated, brutal, beautiful in a way that makes you forget why you came here in the first place. Hassan Sabbah is waiting, the old man of the mountain, charismatic in the way cult leaders always are, calculating in the way survivors have to be, terrifying in the way men become when they stop pretending power has limits. They tell you the legend on your first night. Paradise gardens hidden behind the fortress walls. Hashish-induced visions. 72 virgins waiting on the other side of death. You believe it at first because the garden is real, lush, green, impossible at this altitude. You can smell jasmine and hear water running over stone. Then the training begins and the fantasy dies fast. No drugs, no visions, just discipline, pain, and absolute obedience. The garden was real. The paradise was theatre. The difference is just better lighting and a guard with a sensor. You know, because one morning you catch the scent drifting from the garden. Lamp oil and incense, not flowers. A guard adjusts a silk drape where a fountain should be. The illusion cracks like ice under your boot. Now you know the truth. Paradise is a story they tell recruits. Loyalty is the drug they actually need. Your training starts before dawn and ends after dark. Disguise, languages, patience, endurance. The anatomy of a kill. The dagger becomes an extension of your hand. Intimate, silent, final. You learn languages faster than you learn why you agreed to this. You learn to sit in silence so long, your thoughts feel louder than your breath. You learn to blend into any crowd. Merchant, pilgrim, servant, scholar, soldier. Months or years of infiltration for a single 15-second kill. The targets come from lists you never see in full. Sunni viziers who threaten Ismaili communities. Crusader lords who slaughter the faithful. Rival Ismaili leaders who challenge Hassan's authority. Anyone who threatens the order becomes a name on parchment, then a body in the street. You tell yourself you're serving a higher cause. Mostly, you're serving the old man's grudges. But here's what separates you from common killers. You're not just trained to kill. You're trained to die. The mission matters more than your survival. The order matters more than your name. Fear matters more than body count. That's the real lesson of Alamut. You're not learning how to take a life. You're learning how to spend yours. Your first major target is Nizam al-Mulk, the Grand Vizier of the Seljuk Empire, the man who holds the strings of power across Persia. The man Hassan wants dead more than he wants his next breath. You spend months as a servant in his household, invisible, trusted. You learn his routines, his guards' rotations, the exact moment when he's most vulnerable. The kill comes during a procession outside the palace, a dagger in the side, quick, clean. Then you vanish into the crowd before his body hits the ground. 1,000 men protecting him. 0 of them saw you coming because you stopped being visible weeks ago. For one breath, you feel nothing. Then the crowd screams. Messengers sprint. An empire lurches. For a moment, you wonder if you just changed history or only made someone else rich. This is what it feels like when the world bends around 15 seconds of steel. You're back in your safe house now. The blood is washed off. The dagger is cleaned, but you can't unsee his face. Did killing him feel like duty or murder? Drop your answer in the comments below. His death sends shockwaves across the region. This is how the Order announces itself to the world. Not with armies or sieges, but with one impossible kill in broad daylight that makes every ruler in the Middle East realize they're not safe anymore. The real power of the Hashshashin isn't volume, it's precision and fear. You don't need to kill 100 men. You need to kill the right one, in public, and make it look effortless. Rulers across the region start obeying the Order before a blade ever gets close. They pay tribute. They negotiate. They avoid making enemies of Hassan Sabbah because the alternative is waking up with a stranger in their bedroom. Your second target is Conrad of Montferrat, King of Jerusalem, a Crusader lord who controls one of the holiest cities in the world. You and a partner pose as Christian monks for weeks, studying his routines, memorizing his face, waiting for the perfect moment. The strike happens in broad daylight, in a crowded street, in front of witnesses. Right before the blade goes in, you see it. He laughs at something a guard says, head tilted back, unguarded. The laugh reminds you of someone you knew before Alamut. He's a person, a husband, a king who laughs. You picked the wrong day to laugh in public. Then your hand moves, and he's just meat. Conrad dies. Proof the Order can reach anyone, anywhere. Europe is horrified. The legend grows. Your third mission is Saladin, the Sultan who united the Muslim world against the Crusaders. The man who took Jerusalem back from the Franks. The most protected leader in the region. This one almost works. You get inside his tent, blade ready, one guard distracted. The air smells like lamp oil and leather. Somewhere outside, horses stamp and bridles clink. For a heartbeat, the opening is there. Clean. Perfect. The blade could slide in and history would tilt. Then a second guard shifts. The angle closes. Saladin's eyes snap to you. His paranoia was sharper than your patience. You survive, barely, and return to Alamut in disgrace. You had one job, die or kill him. You did neither. But here's the thing. The Order's reputation does the killing now. Saladin negotiates, makes concessions, avoids open war with the assassins because he knows what happened to Nizam al-Mulk and Conrad of Montferrat. He knows the Order doesn't need to succeed every time. They just need to try once. Fear is cheaper than blood, and the Hashshashin have fear in surplus. But fear only works until someone stops being afraid. The Mongols don't negotiate, don't fear legends, don't care about your reputation or your dagger or the dozen kings you've killed in the last 20 years. They aren't playing the game of symbols and psychological warfare. They're playing a different game entirely. They don't care about messages or fear or reputation. They care about outcomes. They bring siege engines, tens of thousands of soldiers, and a simple philosophy, total destruction. Hulagu Khan sends a message to Alamut, surrender or die. Hassan Sabbah refuses because the Order has never bent to threats. That's the entire foundation of its power. You watch from inside the fortress as the Mongol army surrounds Alamut like a noose tightening. Trebuchets pound the walls day and night. The ground shakes with each impact. Dust rains from the ceiling. Stone cracks and screams under the weight. Towers collapse. Supplies run out. The fortress itself is dying. Your dagger is useless here. Stealth means nothing against an army that doesn't sleep. The entire power structure of the Order, fear, precision, the perfect kill, becomes obsolete in a single siege. This isn't just a military defeat, it's a philosophical death. Your dagger is very impressive. The Mongols brought bigger rocks. Weeks pass. The fortress holds. Barely. Then the old man makes a choice. He surrenders, hoping to save the Order. You realize the man who taught you to never flinch is flinching for the first time. Leaders fall the same way recruits do. When the illusion ends, there's only gravity. The Mongols accept his surrender. The remaining assassins are hunted down, fortresses burned, libraries destroyed. Centuries of knowledge turned to ash in a single campaign. You survive the siege, but the Order is gone. You spent your life becoming the perfect weapon. Turns out, the world moved on to cannons. The irony cuts deeper than any blade you ever carried. The Hashshashin were masters of fear, but the Mongols didn't fear anything. They didn't need to understand your tactics or respect your reputation. They just needed to show up with more men and bigger rocks. The Order dies, but the legend doesn't. The Hashshashin are gone, but the myth of the assassin lives forever. The legends grew stranger with each retelling. Hidden blades, impossible kills, rooftop escapes. But the actual terror was more elegant. It was the idea that you'd never see them coming. Rulers didn't fear the Order because of body count. They feared the possibility of a kill they'd never predict. Centuries later, they still whisper about the Order, even though it's dust. You started on a rooftop with two choices: die or betray the Order. The Order's gone now, but the fear you built, it's still on that rooftop, still watching, still choosing. If you want to see what other secret orders shaped history from the shadows, watch this next. Subscribe so you don't miss the next brutal truth.